Hey, what's up everyone? So as you know, Tesla's Robotaxi event is coming up very soon, later this week on Thursday, and it's expected to have major implications on Tesla's business and the stock. So in today's video, I want to do a quick roundup for you guys of what's being expected and any leaks or predictions that we have so far from analysts, including potentially new models being unveiled, more progress on the Tesla robot, and maybe even a collaboration with McDonald's. We'll get into all of that and more, so let's go ahead and jump straight into it. All right, so before we get into any rumors, what can we realistically expect so far? Well, there's a couple things that we already know. First of all, we know that the event was delayed about 2 months so that Musk could make what he called, quote, an important design change to the Robotaxi and to have, quote, extra time to allow them to show off a few other things. Okay, so that's kind of the first hint right there that this event will not just be about the Robotaxi, but there will actually be, in fact, other products and services announced. Now, again, this should include the Robotaxi, which Elon has referred to in the past as a cyber cab. So there is some speculation going around that it could potentially have some similar design qualities to the Cybertruck. However, I don't think that's very likely myself. Most analysts and the media largely expect it to look very similar to a smaller sedan like the Model 3, have that type of design. And that's kind of what I'm leaning towards myself too. However, we'll come back to that in just a second when we talk about another potential model. We'll get into that in just a second. Now, on top of this, there may be estimates on the potential size of a robotaxi market and how Tesla can tap into it, what their plan is for that, maybe give us a timeline for when they would finally achieve that unsupervised full self-driving, what kind of impact their AI-driven revenues will have on their business going forward, and perhaps show off their growing work in robotics too, with of course the Tesla bot and everything else that they do. Now, this may not sound too exciting at first glance. We'll get into the more juicy stuff here in just a second, but you know, some analysts are actually not expecting a whole lot from this event. Bank of America, for example, said that ever since the delays, they've actually been tempering their expectations in terms of when a robotaxi fleet actually launches, and the event they feel will be more logistical really than anything else, as they help investors understand their current capabilities with autonomous driving, how the fleet would operate, and give any updates on regulatory approval around the world. So more kind of the boring type of stuff, kind of the logistical stuff, maybe more so for investors than something to get like really excited about, right? But you know, this of course is the big question when it comes to Tesla and the Robotaxi, right? Is you know, we still don't live in a world where robotaxis are freely out there, commonly available to most people. There's still a ton of regulation and red tape that Tesla will have to overcome in order to be able to have, you know, this robotaxi service out there in the market. Which, by the way, I recently mentioned in another video, just a recent one, that I actually think one of the ways that Elon Musk may benefit from his closer now relationship to Donald Trump, after of course endorsing him, is that if Trump were to win, I think Trump would likely return, you know, try to return the favor to Musk and help Tesla get over some of those regulatory hurdles that they have. Trump is of course pretty well known for wanting deregulation and stuff like that. So, you know, now they're kind of buddies. You know, I'm sure Musk is, being the businessman that he is probably going to ask Trump for help if he has the opportunity to, right? I mean, it just makes sense. But that is, of course, all speculation on my part. I'm just kind of guessing here. Anyway, I do think that, you know, a lot of this stuff does make sense, but I personally am actually a little more hyped than that, because I do think that there is a reason why this event was delayed, and I feel that it was so that they could do something a bit more attention grabbing in Elon Musk and Tesla type fashion, so that they could unveil maybe a few more things and get people excited and, you know, obviously try to drive up that stock price, right? So with that in mind, let's go ahead and talk about now all the rumors and kind of speculation going around about what could possibly also be unveiled at this event. Well, for sure, the biggest prediction making the rounds right now comes from Gene Munster. This is a well-known analyst from Deepwater Management who is also a longtime Tesla bull. He's invested in Tesla and he made some very interesting predictions for this event. In fact, he predicts that Tesla will unveil 3 brand new vehicle types at the event. Now, he does say that Tesla will be light on details here, like usual, right? Every time that they announce something new, it's very exciting, but you don't get into all the nitty-gritty, all the details for it until later on. It doesn't end up becoming a reality many times for years when Tesla first announces a product. But yeah, that's what he's saying here, that it's going to be light on details, but in all, he expects to see a Robotaxi, as well as a $25,000 EV, what we've been referring to as the Model 2 for years now, and also a Robo van, which is super interesting. Now, starting with the $25,000 car first, this actually does make some sense to me because, Munster thinks that it will just be a stripped down version of the Model 3, which, as we covered before, the Robotaxi is also likely to have a lot of similarities to a Model 3. So the way I see it, if you're Tesla and you're going to develop a new vehicle, a Robotaxi specifically for autonomous driving, keep in mind, you're a business, so you want to maximize efficiencies and margins and profitability, and you want to be able to scale up as quickly as possible too for as little cost as possible. Well, what's the easiest, kind of simplest way of doing that? Of course, you're going to take something that you already have, that you're experienced with, that you know how to build and produce, mass produce, and you're just going to try to tweak it, modify it a little bit to fit those specific needs. By the way, Tesla has always really done this. If you think about it, apart from the Cybertruck, most Tesla vehicles look very similar. I mean, let's be real, guys. The average person out there, you see a Tesla, flying by you, the average person that doesn't own one, they're probably going to be guessing what kind of model that is. I mean, if you just ask what model is that, it's like, I don't, Model 3, Model Y, Model X, Model S, I don't, they look very similar. The designs are very similar. So yeah, it does make sense here to do the same thing with the Model 2, have it be similar to a Model 3, a stripped down version, cheaper one, easier to manufacture, maybe less parts, less components, less technologies, less performance, but just make it easier to produce so that you could sell it for a lower price. Now, I guess the only kind of caveat to that would be that Musk did call it a cyber cab in the past, but like I said, I don't think that he really meant it to be very similar to a Cybertruck. I mean, we'll see. I could be wrong, but Musk has said kind of outlandish things in the past, and ended up changing course. So I feel like this is just going to be kind of that stripped down version, simple Model 2, simple Robotaxi that you can produce, mass produce, and maybe, like I said, remove some components. People are saying that the Robotaxi may not have a steering wheel, may not have pedals, maybe something just for autonomous driving and nothing else. So that is a possibility too. And then if you, if you want those things, if you actually want a steering wheel, if you want the pedals, you want all that extra stuff, well, you could get a Model 2 or even a Model 3 if you want to go a little bit higher in price. But yeah, maybe you could get a Model 2, maybe you can add on full self-driving and you could still add your vehicle to the Robotaxi fleet, right? So that's probably what's going to happen. If you want to just go straight for a Robotaxi, you can get the Robotaxi. That is just, just for that purpose alone. That's going to be something that more so I think Tesla would be using themselves. And then, for consumers, you get a Model 2. It can do everything. You get it with the full self-driving. Same thing for Model 3, Model S, whatever else. And you could add it to the Robotaxi fleet. All of that just kind of makes sense to me for kind of a business model. Anyway, Munster also expects the Model 2 to start production late next year, towards the end of 2025, which is just a bit later than what Elon predicted last quarter. And yeah, that does make sense here because Elon's timelines do tend to be pretty much always off. So, you kind of want to push that out a little bit further than what Musk usually is expecting, right? Either way, though, I think both models, the Model 2 and the Robotaxi, are going to be very crucial upcoming launches for Tesla. And it's for sure why the stock is as expensive as it is right now, with pretty much all valuation metrics just being extremely high for them. You can see that right here. And the stock, of course, has fallen over 40% from the top more recently, but it's still up over 1,000% in the past 5 years. So growth will be very crucial for them going forward, especially because deliveries have been essentially plateauing over the past year or so, right around that kind of 4 to 500,000 quarterly mark. So you're just not seeing that high growth from Tesla that you have in the past. This, I think, is that next leg up for them. This is that next growth driver that I think they're going to really be pushing for, and I think that's why the stock is valued so high. So this is very important. This is an important event, guys. If you're a Tesla investor, yeah, a lot I think is gonna ride on this event. Now, having said that, you bring a cheaper mass market vehicle somewhere around that $25,000 mark. I think that's really big for them and for their business and for growth, because all of a sudden you're no longer that very limited luxury vehicle type of competitor. Now you're starting to steal market share from Toyota Camrys and Corollas, Honda Accords and Civics. That's a giant market to tap into, guys. And then, of course, robotaxis, that's kind of like the cherry on top. Obviously, that's maybe a further way out because of all the regulations and all that kind of stuff. But if you're quick to market on that, at least one of the first early movers, that's another brand new market all on its own too. So there's the cheaper cars to tap into. That's already a giant established market to tap into. And then you have robotaxis creating a brand new market too. So those are two gigantic growth drivers that I think could give Tesla that explosive growth that the stock, needs at that valuation. Of course, there's other things too, though. Tesla has always argued that they're not just a vehicles company. They're an AI company, a robotics company. They do energy, battery storage, even logistics. Now with the semi, coming up, they're going to do more stuff with that. So there's many things that they're trying to do now to justify that high valuation. I think we could see some new developments there too at this event, especially the Tesla bot. Maybe they showed off doing more factory work. I think that's really going to be the biggest selling point for the Tesla bot, because consumers, I think that's a little bit further off. Again, regulations, and then just like, regular people I think are just going to be slow to want a weird, kind of creepy robot in their house. So I think the bigger market to start off with is going to be factory, office work, doing those mundane tasks that nobody wants to do. And you put in a Tesla bot there, automate things, bring costs lower. And I think that could actually be huge, in an economy where businesses are trying to lower costs as much as possible, especially lately with inflation and everything else that's been going on. Okay, now moving on to the next juicy part here. This is something that I think a lot of people have kind of just forgot about, but Moonster brings it up here. That third vehicle that he mentions being a Tesla van. Now, what the heck is this? There's no way that Tesla is just going to come out and announce a van, right, at this event. Like that would be shocking, right? Well, look, surprisingly, I actually think that it's very possible that they show one off. And here's why. First of all, we actually heard about a Tesla van both a long time ago and even as recently as this year. In fact, I remember hearing about it all the way back in like 2019 when Musk put out his Master Plan Part 2, where he specifically pointed to heavy duty trucks and a quote, high passenger density urban transport. Sounds an awful lot like some kind of van, right? Well, just a short while after revealing the Cybertruck, Musk took to Twitter again to say, quote, it probably makes sense to build a van off the pickup truck chassis. And there's even more evidence just like this that Elon has often thought about making a Tesla van. In fact, back in their investor day of last year, Musk showed this slide here that contains two new vehicles covered up with a sheet over them right next to the Cybertruck. Well, clearly one of those is probably the Robotaxi vehicle or like the Model 2, while the other is, I would say, just as clearly in that taller shape of a traditional van or some type of larger transport vehicle. And it doesn't even stop there, guys. Earlier this year, that's right, this exact year, it was reported back around, I think it was like March, that Tesla was in talks with the Italian government to potentially build a new factory there to make electric trucks and vans. So clearly this is something that has very much so been in the works, at least just in the maybe conceptual or kind of developmental phase of it. But if they happen to come out at this event and show off not just a Robotaxi sedan, but also a Robotaxi van of some sort, well, it's a pretty good bet that the media is going to run wild with that. And even Wall Street will probably start to factor that into their analysis too, because a van is just going to be more efficient, right? It could fit more people, do more rides, so it's going to be good for business. After all, the robotaxi market itself should be worth trillions of dollars long term. And so tackling that with two different vehicle types, plus you also have the release of the cheaper mass market, Model 2, with an added option perhaps for full self-driving at an added cost that people can also add to that fleet and make a little extra money on the side. Maybe even, what if Tesla ends up subsidizing some of that? What if they tell people, okay, you buy the Tesla Model 2, maybe you add it to the fleet for, let's say, a certain required amount of time every month, and we'll pay for the self-driving features. That could be, potentially something that they end up offering in the future too. If they need it, if they need more vehicles out on the road, maybe they don't, but if they need it, they could subsidize it that way too. Because what does it cost them? It doesn't cost them anything to let people use full self-driving. It's just going to make them money, right? All of this is going to be super high margin for Tesla. This is all services. This is software. So that's another route that they could take, and these could be big game changers for them. And so, I think any type of surprises like that, we know can go a long way with a stock like Tesla that does tend to get so overhyped, whenever they have events like this, right? So anyway, I'll just finish this little segment here with something that Dan Ives wrote about the upcoming event. This is another analyst here. This is a major bull for Tesla. He's from Wedbush. And he said, quote, "We believe the Robotaxi day will be a seminal and historical day for Musk and Tesla, and it marks a new chapter of growth around autonomous, full self-driving, and AI future at Tesla. We continue to believe Tesla is the most undervalued AI name in the market, and we expect Musk and company to unveil some game-changing autonomous technology at this event, adding that Tesla is more than just an EV vendor and that its push into AI and robotics will be a key turning point for them in the future as they value their AI and full self-driving capabilities at $1 trillion alone for Tesla over the coming years, and that this event will be a watershed moment for them to kick off this era of AI at Tesla. Thus, he maintained his outperform rating with a $300 price target on the stock. So yeah, guys, those are some very bullish sentiments there. It's gonna be, I would say it's gonna suck a lot if Tesla comes out and disappoints. What if they just come out? What if they just show a concept of a robotaxi and that's it? No hardware, no demos, nothing. It's all just the same stuff that we've already known. That would suck. It would probably tank the stock a bit. And I'm of course not hoping for that because I own Tesla stock myself. So I'm hoping that it will be this really cool, fun event and we get some surprises. But all we can really do is wait and see at this point. But yeah, there's a lot of hype going into this event. It's a very crucial event. And yeah, it's gonna suck if they don't show off some cool stuff. But I think it'll also be really good if they do. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, I almost forgot. By the way, those two covered up vehicles that I showed you earlier in this video, do you guys know what Musk actually said about those? It was pretty interesting. So he said that this was way back when he unveiled it. Not that, it was a year ago or something. But when he unveiled these, he said, obviously we've got some new products that we're working on under the covers. I think these are going to be pretty special. I think people at first may think, oh, it's not going to be that amazing, but just wait, it will be. So that's pretty interesting too. That's again in reference to the two cars that were covered up with a sheet, one being probably the cheaper Robotaxi type of car, and then the other one is probably the van. So he's saying it's going to be something special. He's saying just wait, you'll see. Could they be unveiled? Could they be talked about more at this event? We'll have to see. Hopefully we'll get some stuff. All right, very last piece of speculation here. There was some new rumors about a possible partnership with McDonald's because apparently McDonald's posted on X a picture of a meal in a McDonald's bag, and it had the Robotaxi's event date of 10/10 on it. And in the receipt, it said, not a Big Mac, which seemed to be in reference to when Elon Musk made the flamethrower with his Boring Company and called it not a flamethrower. And then Elon even replied to this tweet with a laughing face. So everyone kind of ran with it. They thought maybe, are we about to get some type of announcement here of a partnership where Tesla Robotaxis are going to be delivering McDonald's food? What does this mean? Well, sorry to burst the bubble, guys, but if you look at that tweet, it said chat is about to pop off 1010, which kind of made it seem like they might be referring to some type of streaming event because of the chat, whatever. And then, yeah, sure enough, it was later revealed that some famous streamer is actually going to do some type of collaboration with McDonald's, I guess, on that day, which is kind of weird that it happens to be on that day. So, yeah, that appears to be all it is. I mean, we'll have to wait and see, but it looks like it's not going to be anything important. It looks like it's just McDonald's with some type of streamer, and it just happens to be on that day. Maybe they chose that day to try to get some attention. Who knows? But anyway, that was that. Oh, by the way, in the future, deals like that between Tesla and McDonald's or something else, those could actually be huge for them in the future too, because, if you think about it, like in California, for example, wages for fast food restaurants are really high. So a lot of these restaurant companies, they've been laying off a ton of workers. Like McDonald's laid off tons of people in California. And one of the things that McDonald's has been doing is they've been trying to make their restaurants more autonomous and not have to have as many workers, right? Well, if Tesla's Robotaxi service all of a sudden can start delivering food too, and some of that process can be automated, yeah, that could help cut down on costs too, and it could be another potential growth driver for Tesla. So keep an eye on that too. Keep an eye on, McDonald's too and what they might be doing with that. But anyway, that's obviously more long-term. All of this stuff is very long-term at this point because, again, I still think like the biggest hurdle is going to be regulatory approval, all that kind of stuff. Until we really see autonomous cars just driving on their own out on the road, I think it's going to be a little while. But like I said, I think having that friendship with the president, maybe it gets you there a little faster. I don't know. I'm just kind of speculating. But anyway, let me know what you guys think. I'll let you know if anything changes, if I hear of any big news coming up for the event, and maybe I'll do an update video after the event. Let me know if you guys would want to see that, and I can kind of run through everything that was announced. I don't know. Let me know if you'd want to see that. But thanks again for stopping by, my friends. Thank you for all your support. Let me know down in the comment section how you feel about all of this. Let me know how you feel about Tesla and the stock. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. All right. I'll see you guys later. Take care. Bye-bye.